Good evening, class, and welcome to our advanced taxation class. Today is the final day of our series of classes, and we are ending the class with petroleum profit tax, also called PPT. In our lecture, we also call it oil and gas taxation. Today, we will not be talking too much. We will be solving ICANN past questions. We have about minimum of 3 questions to solve. And so today, we are starting with November 2018, question number 2. So let's go and take a look at it. November 2018, question number 2 is right here with us. And now let's look at what it contains. Okay. Olu Oil Limited has been in the oil prospecting business in one of the major oil fields in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria since 2009. So that's the commencement date for his lifting of commercial quantity of oil. The company has provided the following operational results for the year ended 31st December 2015. And we said this is the year in which we are going to prepare our account. So it's going to be our year of assessment is going to be 2015, since it is actual year basis. Now, when you are attacking a question, instead of reading the whole thing, you've seen that this is an oil company, and they said oil prospecting business. So it means that for you to be in the oil prospecting business, oil prospecting, this is upstream. This is upstream. Then you can see crude oil and all that. So just go straight to the last part of the question to see what we are asked to do. This is a long question, looks like a question number 1 type of question, but it's actually question number 2. Now we are asked to evaluate the transactions and advise the management on. So now the evaluation of the transaction, this is evaluate, it means you need to compute. So you compute this, compute this, compute this, and this. And advise, so you will write a report. You will write a report. And so your report should address all of this. So we will see how the report addresses all of this. But the first thing before writing your report is you will need to do your computation. So it means your answer booklet, the first page for that question should be for your report. So you can just do your letterhead, then you now start your report. You say advice on assessable profit, chargeable tax, and tax liability for the year ended 31st December 2015, which is year of assessment 2015, yes. So that's what you are going to do. Then you will leave it, then you go to page 2 and you start your workings, which is like your appendix. Now this appendix is what will be referred to. So when you are looking at accessible profit, you put the final figure there, and you will say, see appendix, maybe appendix 1. Chargeable profit, you put the figure in your report, see appendix 2. Chargeable tax, put the figure, see appendix 3. Total tax liability, you put the figure, see appendix 4. Something like that. Okay, so now let's get right into business and let's do it. So this is the person we are preparing its account, the tax person we are preparing this account. So we are preparing accessible profits, accessible and chargeable profits, and tax liability, year of assessment 2015. Now I want to assume this is your appendix. I will not be writing the report here. We'll be referring to the report. We are just concerned about the calculations. So here is what we'll do. We are going to leave page 1 and page 2, and we'll start our workings here from page 3. So I'll come here, workings. So as I work, I'll be putting my figures down there. So I don't know what is the first working. I'll go up now, and normally I will need to put 2 naira sign. I'll need to put 2 naira sign. Sometimes we put 3 naira sign. Then I want to determine if I'll put 3 zeros or if I will leave it that way. So what we are doing now, we are going back to the question. So let's go to the question now and take it one by one. Okay, so what I will note here is that in these expenses here, there is no 3 naira sign up here. And we can see some of them has fractions. So I will not put the naira sign there. So I will not put 3 zeros. So what I would do now is I will look at the question. So they said, I will just try to peruse the question. One here, type of crude oil sales statistics. So this is sales. So this is for sales. Okay. Now that I know this is for sales, I'll go down. This is also sales. This is also sales. I'll go down again. This is also sales. When I say sales, I'm also meaning income. Okay. Now, expenses. So all here is expenses. They are long. So now I'm be looking at the additional information to see where I will see income. So here is also income. And we also have expenses. So we'll take note of it. Now, the rest are also expenses, expenses, expenses. Then this is qualifying capital expenditure. Okay, then all of this here is for gas. Now, if you want to do gas, they will give you these factors, this load factor and G factor. They are going to give it to you. So you will not need to be racking your brain to try to remember all of that. All right, so now that we have identified what we were given, let's go now and attack the question, noting well that when we get to income, when we get to miscellaneous income, we will see note number 6. So what I will just do now, I will go to miscellaneous income and I will say C6 because I will need to do something here so that I will not miss the point. Now I'm looking at crude oil. So I will start with this is type of crude oil and sales, and all of this is export sales. So I will come here and I will say export sales. And this is workings number 1. All right, so I will go straight to where my workings number 1 is, and I will say export sales. Now, the way to solve this is they've told you type of crude oil and sales statistics. Burning light, this is the number of barrels exported at 39-degree API. Then we have burning medium, exported at 35-degree API. Focados, exported at 32-degree API. Then we have the price per barrel. Burning lights, burning medium, and focados. So how do we do this? We have type of crude oil, burning lights, and all that. So what I would do here is I will say this is what's the first one? Burning light, burning medium, and focados. So this is burning light, body medium, focados. So I will say this is API, that this is your dollar. So instead of me writing dollar like this, I can still decide to say USD. So this is also API, and this is USD. And this is API, and this is USD. Okay, so this is, we'll start now with this is standard. This is standard. So let me say standard oil. This is actual oil. Then the next will be difference. Okay, so let's do that now. Now, the question is saying here, burning light 35,000 barrels exported at 39-degree API. So this is the actual 39-degree API. So I'll come here, actual for burning light. This is 39-degree. I'll go back again. So that means I have used this. Then the next one is burning medium exported at 35-degree. So I'll come here. This is actual here, 35-degree. Then for candles is 32-degree, 32-degree. So I'll come here, 32-degree. Okay, so now price per barrel. This is 52.03 at 35 API. So the price is a standard. So the price is a standard. Standard is 35. So if you look at all of them, the standard is 85. It's possible that they may have different standard, but just know that your price per barrel is going to be given at standard. So 52.03, 52.03, this is 52.03, and this is 35. Okay, then the next one will be, so we've taken this, 49.04 at 35. 49.04, 49.04, still the same, 35. Then the next one, as we've taken this and this is 48.29 at 35 degrees. 48.29, same, 35-degree. All right, so what's the difference here? The difference between the API here is 35 minus 39 should give you how many? Minus 4. The difference here is 0. Now the difference here is 3-degree API. So, okay, so let me say, instead of using brackets, let me use minus sign, minus 4. Now, let's read on. So we've taken this and this. Actual realized price. So the actual realized price was arrived at after adjusting for the variance in API. So these differences we had here, is the variance in API. So the standard is 35 and you are having 39. Okay, so I will switch it a little bit. Instead of having minus here, since the actual is more than the standard, so this should be plus. This is where I should have the minus. The actual here is less than the standard. So normally that's how it is. Now the last said the actual realized price was arrived at after adjusting for the variance in API. Thus, for every API, $0.03 was the variance in price at 35 API. So this is the standard. So if one API should be equivalent to this. So this is the what you will use to multiply for every increase in API or every decrease in API. So what you'll now do is, this is the difference here. You multiply this by 0.03, 0.03. So you multiply by 0.03. So it's just here, I should rule the line here. So 0.03. Shouldn't rule this one too long. Times 0.03 times 0.03. So that's the difference. So let's have it together. We'll bring our calculator. 4 multiplied by 0.03. That means it's 0.12. So 0.12, 0.12. So we will now say actual price will now be, you add them together. So this will be 52.15. So that's for Bonnie Light, 52.15. For Bonnie Medium, what is it going to be? This is going to be 0, 0 plus this here will still give you 49.04. So that's for Bonnie Medium. Then let's look at Focados. Focados will be 3 plus minus 3 multiplied by 0.03. That will give you minus 0.09. So this will give you minus 0.09. Okay, so when we adjust it, 0.09, which is what we have here, plus 48.29, that will give me 48.2. So this will give me 48.20. Now that's the actual price in USD. Then the next thing to do is number of barrels. Number of barrels. Okay. Number of barrels. So of course, let me just put the dollar here just to be sure, just to ensure that this is dollar. This is dollar. This is dollar. So let's get the number of barrels. The number of barrels here, the first one is 35,000 barrels. So we'll put 35,000. The second one is 25,200. 25,200. So we are multiplying. Then the next one will be 16,300. 16,300. But that's not all. We will now look at currency exchange, currency rates. So we'll now look at the currency rates. So we have We have done everything here. Done everything here. So we are now going to currency. We'll get our currency at this is where currency is. The exchange rate, the exchange rate is 360 to US dollar. So we've done this now, 360 to US dollar. So let's come here. So multiply by 360 naira. So multiply by 360 times 360. So you will now say export sales. This is now in naira. So this will be in naira. So what would that be? So let's take the first one. The first one here is 52.15. That's the dollar price for the particular API being exported, since it is higher than the standard by 4. Then we multiply by the number of barrels, which is 35,000. Then multiply by the exchange rate of 360. Now that gives us 657,090,000. 657 million. So this is 657,090,000. So that's for this. Then we'll look at the second one. The second one will be 49.04 multiplied by 25,200 multiplied by 360. That gives us 444, 890, 880. All right. Then the last one will now be 48. What am I doing? 48, 48.20 multiplied by 16,300 multiplied by 360. That will give me 282, 837, 600. All right. So that's the export sales. Then you will now find the total. So you now say total export sales. You are now going to add all of these together and get a final answer, which we will take up here. So we already have this one here. I'll just say plus 444, 890, 880 plus 657, 090,000. That gives me 1,130,384 million. Let me write 1,384,000,000 818,480. So I'm going to take it up now, and that's what I'm going to put as my export sales. So let me activate it here. 1,384,000,000. Okay, 818,480. So this is your export sales. Then we have our local sales. So we can say this is workings 2. And we'll go down to go and work it out. So you see, most of the things you'll be doing, because you've left a limited space, most of the things you'll be doing workings, and you come and put the answers there. That's the best way. So this one now is workings number 2, local sales. All right, what information do we have about local sales? Let's go up and get our facts about local sales. All right, so that's workings 2. We have local sales here is 32,750 barrels. So we'll do it here. 32,750, sorry. 32,750 barrels at, so we've taken this at 345 naira. 345 naira. How much would that be? So let's bring this one here. So this is 32,750 multiplied by 345. That gives us 11,298,750. So we'll go up here and that's a local sales. Then the next thing to do here is, so we've taken, this side is gone. Go to number 3. Number 3 here is gas. Value of natural gas. So you now say value of natural gas. So this is workings 3. So you now go down and do your workings 3. So it makes it easy for you. That's number 3 here. Value of natural gas. And we are given two gas contracts, Obi and Oba Limited. So what you now do here is, this is contract, this is Obi Limited, then the other one is Oba Limited. The next one is value in naira. So this is value 48 42,285, 42,285,000, 42,285,000, 22,775, 22,775,000. Okay, 27,775. This is 27. Let me be sure these things are written well. Load factor 62 and 74. Load factor 62, 74. Okay. The next one will be G factor, which we don't know. Then this is value. I'll call it net value. Let me call this net value. Net value. And of course, this should be in Naira, as this is in Naira. All right, so we don't know these two. Then when we finish, we are going to total this together. Just a moment. This is not responding. Just a moment. My screen is not responding at the moment. Okay, it should respond now. So I will sum them up together, and I will have my value of gas contracts. So that's it. That's the way I plan to do it. So I will take them one after the other. So this is OB Limited, and I will say I want to look for the G factor. The G factor I want to look for now. So this is 62, right? This is 62, yes. So 62 is between 60 and 70. So I will say this is 62 minus 60 all over. So because it is between 60 and 70, I will use that 60 and 70 below. 60 and 70. So now I will call this one G1. I'll call this G1 minus, what is 60? We'll go and look at the question. It gave us, so that means we've taken this. Okay, let me be indicating what we've used. This is freezing. Excuse me. We've taken this, we've taken this, we've taken this, we've taken this. So we're going to go down and be looking at this factor. So for the first one, we are going to be taking 60 and 70. So we're going to be taking this and this. So for 60, we have 15.5. 15.5. because that's in percentage. And we'll still have it here, 15.5. For 70, 14.3. So that will be 14.3. So what do we need to do? So let's tidy it up here. So I can come here and do the same thing here. Oba Limited, G factor. Oba Limited G factor here is 74. So this is between 70 and 80. So this is 74 minus 70 all over 80 minus 70. So I'll call this G2 minus, now if you look at 70 is 14.3, and we also have 14.3 here. So we just need to go and get that of 80, 13.6. 13.6. So we're doing the two at the same time. So 62 minus 60 is going to give us 2. So this is 2 on top here over 10 is equal to G1 minus 15.5 all over, let's do this down one here. So 14.3 minus 15.5. That will give you minus 1.2. So this is minus 1.2. Now, let me do this one here. 74 minus 70, that will give me 4. Somebody is still asking a question. Someone is saying it's supposed to be minus 2. Which one is supposed to be minus 2? 62 minus 60. Press your calculator. It's going to be 2 because 62 is bigger than 60. 70 minus 60 is 10. Now, it is 14, which is the smaller one, minus 15.5, which is the bigger one, that should give me minus 1.2. This is the only place where we'll have minus, this second denominator. So that's 74 minus 70 is 4. 80 minus 70 is 10. This will still give me G2 minus 14.3 all over. Now, this is the place where we'll have minus. Let me shift the calculator so that we'll see 13.6 minus 14.3. But that will give me minus 0.7. Minus 0.7. All right, so now let's tidy them up now. We will now cross multiply. This will now become 2 multiplied by minus 1.2. This is equal to 10 multiplied by G1 minus 15.5. Now that's the same thing we're going to do here. This will be 4 multiplied by minus 0.7 equal to 10 multiplied by G2 minus 14.3. So 2 times minus 1.2 is going to give me minus 2.4. This is minus 2.4, which will be equal to G1 times 10. That will give me 10 G1 minus 10 times 15.5 will give me 155. Doing the same thing here, 7 times 4 is 28, which is like minus 2.8. Let's be sure. 0.4, 0.7 times 4, 2.8 here. So that's 2.8 is equal to 10G2 minus 143. Now let's take like terms. All the ones that are unknown should be in the right hand side. The known ones should be in the left. So this is the same thing as minus 2.4. If this one here that is minus 155 moves to the other side to become plus 155, now that will be equal to 10G1. In the same vein, minus 2.8, if this minus 143 moves to become plus 143 to become to 10G2. So let's sort them out. I already have minus 2.8 here in my calculator. So if I add 143, that will give me 140.2. 140.2. So this will give me 140.2, which is equal to 10G2. Now, if I come here, this will be equal to 10G1. Okay, so what will I do? I will say 2.4, that is minus 2.4 plus 155, that will give me 152.6. 152.6 equals to 10GI. So if you make GI subject of formula, so your G1 will be 152.6 divided by 10, which will give me 15.26. So here, G2 will be 140.2 divided by 10, which is 14.02. So 14.02, 15.26. 15.26. So this is 15.26. This is 14.02. Now, what is going to be the net value? Now, the net value, okay, so, sorry, the net value is going to give you value of contracts, multiplied by 1 minus G factor. Okay, so let's start. OB Limited. The value is going to be, what's the value here? Okay, what I will do, I will not be going up and down. The value here is I have to go up now to get it. 42,285. So that's 42,285,000 multiplied by 1 minus, we need to convert this onto decimal. So it's going to be 0.1526. So this will now be 422850. Sorry, what am I writing? 285, yes. How did I put 0 here again? Okay, multiplied by, so we will now look at it. So this is the decimal we had here. We'll put a minus sign before it. When we minus it from 1, it will become 0.8474. 0.8474. When we multiply it by, we multiply by 42,285,000. So it means that what we are saying here is 15.26% is the discount on the value. So if you are taking 15.26% as your discount, the remainder, which is the net, is 84.74%. So 84.74% is what we are calculating of the value. That gives me 42. What did I do? I didn't do it well. I'll start again. 42,285,000 multiply, not plus, multiplied by 0.8474. That will give me 35,382. So I'll come in 35,382. No, 35,832,209. Am I correct? 309. 832,309. So I'll take it up and I will go and fill it up here. Okay. Then the next one I'm going to do here is the Oba Limited. So the contract value is 27,775 multiplied by 0.1402. Okay, so we will now say this is equal to 27,775,000 multiplied by, now we will say 1 minus 0.1402. That will give me 8598. Right, so when we multiply, of course, this is in naira. This is naira. So when we multiply this by 27,775,000, that's going to give me 23,880,945. Let's see if we got it correct. Yeah, 23, 880, 945, 23, not 28. So let's take it up. The pains we take to get these figures correct. So we now add these two together, plus 35, 832, 309. That gives me 59, 713. Let's write that one. 59, 713. Okay. 254. So we'll take it up now and fill it there. So you can imagine if we are not doing walk-ins, how our answers would have been. So 59, 713, 254. All right. Now we've done value of natural gas. So that means we have said goodbye to, we've done this. So we've we've dealt with this, dealt with this. So I can be using pencil to cancel this. I've dealt with this. I can go up now and I will say, what have I not dealt with? Okay, I've dealt with this, dealt with this, so that because this question is big, so that we will not be getting confused. Dealt with this, dealt with this, dealt with this, dealt with this. Okay, so we now come to number 4, miscellaneous income. So miscellaneous income, and I will say workings 4. I would like to do everything on workings. So I will go down. Workings number 4, miscellaneous income. Charged 120. Let's go amount charged. Amount charged is how much? 125, 800, 300. All right, so this is the amount charged. So that means we have taken this, but we say C number 4 and number 6. So let's go and see what is there. Miscellaneous income included 105, 500 from the sales of refined petroleum products and an attributable expenses of 88,240. So we'll use this twice. So we will not cross it when we use it. So I will say less income from downstream. From downstream is sale of refined petrol petrol product. So I will call it sales of refined petrol. How much is that? 105,500. 105,500. To write this well, 105,500. Just to be sure I've got it correct. So we're going to less this. I want to waste space. All right, so 125,800, 300 minus 105,500. That will give me 20, 300, 300. So this is your miscellaneous income, 20, 300, 300. So we'll go up now and go and slot it down in our account. So this is 20, 300, 300. And now your income is finished. You sum them all and you now add them. So let's say I will take it from up to down, from down to up. So this plus 59, 713, 254 plus 11, 298, 750 plus 1,384,818,480. That gives me 1,476,000,000. Let's write that one. 1,476,000,000. 130,784. Someone is making a comment. Uh-oh, 20, 300, 300. Yeah, so my bad. So this is going to be 300 here. In my calculator, the 20, 300, 300 was captured. So it didn't change anything. It's just here. I will need to change this to 300. That is the only thing here. Of course, 300 plus 200 is 500. 5 plus 4, 900. Okay, yeah. So the whole calculation is correct. It's just for me to put 3 instead of 0. That's fine. Thanks for that correction. Now, this is your gross income. So this is your gross income. Okay, so that's your gross income here. Then I will come down and say less allowable expenses. Okay, so less allowable, what am I doing? Less allowable expenses. So all my expenses allowable will be underneath this. All right, so what are they? The best way to start is to look at the information in the additional information. So instead of looking at expenses that is in number 5, we'll look at additional information from below to see which one we'll first adjust. So we'll look at that number 6 again. They said miscellaneous income include this 105,500. We say we are going to use this twice from the sale of refined oil, refined petroleum product, and equivalent attributable expense. So this is also a downstream expense, which we use twice when we are doing the downstream sector. 88,240 was included in management and admin expense. So management and admin expense will be the first thing we are going to look at. So management and admin. So what I would say, expenses, I can come and say workings, because I don't want to do any work in this question. I don't want to do any workings in the body here. So this is workings 5. I don't want to do any workings here. So all my workings are done separately, and I bring my solution to the answer here. So this is workings 5. Management and admin. Sorry, did I do this? Okay. Yes, workings 4 was done as an miscellaneous income management and admin expenses. Okay. Amount charged. How much was charged? 150, 600. 150, 600. This my 150 is looking at like 8. 150, 600 less expense from downstream. The expense from downstream is 88,240. So this is 88,240. So we'll calculate it now. 150, 600,000 minus 88, 240,000. That gives me 62,360,000. 62,360. Okay, so we'll go up down here, put it 62,360. We are trying to manage space. 62,360,000. That's the first one. So we have taken care of this, and we have done this one first part. Interest paid include, so we'll now go to interest paid. So that's the next thing. Interest paid. Interest paid is here. What am I doing now? Interest paid Okay, so we'll now look at interest paid as our next thing here to solve. Interest paid. Interest paid, we should be working 6. So we'll go and do the workings number 6. Workings number 6, interest paid. Amount charged. Amount charged is how much? Amount charged is 15,350. And now let's look at what is mentioned here after the amount charged. We are told that interest paid include 5,350, which was paid to Prince Limited, an associated company. We were not told if this interest was paid at arm's length. So let's see if it was paid at arm's length. Any information on that? No information on that. So it is assumed that these are not arm's length transaction. So we are going to remove this money because they are not arm's length, they are not at market value. So this also an associated company, that's related party. 5,000,350. Let me remove it here first. 5,350,000. So I will say less interest paid to associated company. So when we remove this is going to be 10 million. So that's it, 10 million interest paid. So we'll take it, interest paid, 10 million. So that's 10 million here. The next one will be looking at it gradually. So we have done this. So we have done this. We're going to come to this now. Donations included. Now we are talking about donations. So looking at donations, we have Nigerian political party. This is not allowable. Boko Haram Victims Rehabilitation Fund, allowable. Society for the Blind, allowable. So we are going to remove only 2 million from donations. So we'll go to donations and we'll see what was charged. So this happens to be donation 5.5 million. So donation working 7. So that's how we'll be going back and forth. Workings, work and come back, which is the best way. So you pass on the strength of your workings. So workings number 7, donations. Amount charged 5,500,000. So that's 5,500,000 less disallowed, which is to political party. How much is that again? To political party, if I remember clearly, it's about 2 million. 2 million. So 2 million. So that will give me 3.5 million. So 3.5 million is what I will take as my donations. I'll take it up, 3.5 million. Put it down here, 3,500,000. All right, so we are done with this. So we are done with this. So let's see. We are told that pension scheme was approved by the board. So the next thing we are going to be talking about is pension. Let's go and see what was happening here in pension. Just say pension contribution. Take it straight because it's approved by the board. No workings. So pension contribution, no workings, 6,939,750. 6,939,750. All right. Then what's the next thing? We need to check which we have not done. So we've done this. The ones we've not crossed out is what I'm looking for. We are doing the crossing out so that I didn't say you should go and I didn't say you should go and cross it in the exam. Exchange loss on remittance to amounting to 3.2 million was included in management and admin expense. Normally, when we are doing management and administration here, we should have considered this. But now that we have it here now, exchange loss is allowable. Exchange loss is allowable because this is petroleum product that you are doing, and it is because you are selling with, that is the foreign exchange that you made when you are doing exports. It is petroleum business you did, and that loss as regards exchange is an allowable expenses in petroleum products. Now, if it is an exchange gain, it would have formed part of other income. It would have formed part of other income. But now, exchange loss, they said they have already captured it in admin and management and admin expense. So it means that this management and admin expense here contains the expense loss, which is allowable. The only thing that is not allowable is this 88,240. So you don't need to do anything. So that's just a trick thing here. If you think, some people will just say, okay, some people used to say anything you see on additional information, they are all going to affect your answers. Not everything. This one doesn't affected it. Just the same thing like that donations. Out of the 3 donations there, only 1 affected. So we need to be very careful. So let's see, we've looked at the expenses. So what remains now is just capital allowance. So we are done with the additional information. So we'll start taking the other expenses one by one. Intangible drilling costs, take them. Intangible drilling cost is 225 million. Intangible drilling costs 225 million. Okay, the next one here is rent. Your rent is 27 million. So rent 27 million. Sorry, rent is 27 million. $27 million. Then the next one is royalty on export sales. Let me write that. Royalty export sales. I know the next one will be on local sales, so that I don't need to come back and start writing them. So the first one is 7,116,400. 7,116,400. The next one is 1,150. All right, so we're done with royalty. Okay, the next one should be transportation costs. Transportation cost 13,730. 13,730. That's transportation costs. The next one should be non-productive rent. Non-productive rent 6,725,000. 6,725,000. So that's non-productive rent. Then depreciation. Depreciation is never allowable. Then the next one here is operating costs. Operating cost should be the highest, or if not the highest, apart from intangible trading cost and management and admin. Operating costs should include salaries and all that. If it is not included in management and admin, operating costs 318,250. 318,250. So this is operating cost. And what's the next one? Custom duty. Custom duty. Custom duty. Because we've done donations and pension contribution. So the next one should be custom duty, 4 million. Custom duty, 4 million. Then we have harbor duties. Harbor dues, 2.5 million. Harbor dues. 2.5 million. The next should be repairs on equipment. Repairs on equipment. How much was that? 10,463. The next one is bad debt written off. This is not provision, this is bad debt written off. Writing it down. Bad debt written off. This has already occurred. 13,510. And the next one, which is stamp duty on share capital. Now, stamp duty is not allowed. Then share capital. So these are supposed to be capitalized expenses. These are supposed to be capitalized. So this is not allowed. So far, let's examine what we've done. Check them one by one by one. The one we put bad, that was not allowed. So we've crossed out everything remaining capital allowance. We'll come back to capital allowance, but now these are not the only allowable expenses. Of course, we know we are going to calculate tertiary education tax. So this will be tertiary education tax. And that should be workings number. Let's see, where do we stop? Workings number 6. So the next one will be workings number 7. Workings number 7. So, but before we calculate the tertiary education tax, let's sum these things up here. What a long sum. 662,360,000. We have it here already. Now plus 10 million. Okay. Plus 3.5 million. Plus 6,939,750 plus 225,000 plus 27 million plus 7,116,400 plus 1,150,000 plus 13,730,000 plus 6,725,000 plus 318,250,000 plus 4 million plus 2.5 million plus 10 million, 63,000 plus 13,510,000. That's the last one. So equal to 712,244,150. Let's see if I got it correct. That's it. So this is what you have thus far. So let's go and work out our tertiary education tax, which is workings number 7. Workings number 7, tertiary education tax. Okay, so we'll start with gross income. We'll go and fetch that. Less other allowable expenses. And we know that to be 712,244,150. So let's go and fetch our gross income and bring it down here. So we are moving up and moving down. Okay, for me to remember, I'm going to bring it down here. Since we are going to be minusing it from here, I will say 1,476, 130,784. Yes. So let's go down. It's in our calculator. Let's remember it and put the figure there. Bring the calculator back. 1,476. I'll take that. 1,476. 130,784. All right. So when I minus this other one from it here, I have 763,886. 763,886, 634. So I'm going to be looking for 2/102 multiplied by 763,886,634. Anything I get here is my tertiary education tax. So multiplied by 2 divided by 102. That will give me 14,978. So this is 14,978, 169. Because when I have 0.2, this 2 is not up to 5, so it's going to be 169. So 14,798, 169. 14,978, Is it 798 or 978? 978. 14978 169. I'll still bring it for memory's sake. 14978 169. Okay. So what will happen now? We'll total all of this. So we'll say total allowable expenses. So total allowable expenses, I have 712,244,150 plus 14978,169. That will give me 727,222. 727,222. What's the next one? 319. 319. These are going to be less because we said less allowable expenses. So what we are going to be looking for now is our accessible profit. So we'll come here and say accessible profit. So we'll just put it as A because that's the A part of your question. That was your A part of your question, accessible profit. Okay, so what do we do now? Our accessible profit will be this our allowable expenses. So we'll say minus, we'll add it to our gross income. We'll say gross income minus accessible expense and allowable expense. So this is our gross income here. We have added plus 1476 130 784. So that will give me 748. And we get to where I will write it. So this is 748,908. 748,908. 465. Okay, so we are going to be managing space because after accessible profit, we are supposed to less capital allowance, which will be done as workings number what? Workings number 8. After getting our working capital allowance, the next thing will be chargeable profit, which is your B. Then chargeable tax, which is your C. Then the next one will be total tax liability payable. So this is workings number 9. Total tax liability payable. So this is your D. I will see it from workings number 10. So you see how we've managed our space. All our workings are done elsewhere, and we'll bring it now. So we'll go to capital allowance, which is workings number 8, and we'll do that and bring it. Capital allowance is workings number 8. So this is number 8. Capital allowance. All right, so capital allowance. Remember, we are doing an account for the year 2015. So let's remember, we said 2015, yes, and we usually do something 2015 minus 4. 2015 minus 4 gives us 2011, and anything in 2011 is 19% capital allowance. 19%. Any asset bought in 2011, 19% is the capital allowance. We will now take it down and go and look for assets in 2011. We put 19%. So, of course, this is 2015. What we will say, this is 20% plus PIA, because this one is bought in the year. This is also 20%. This is also 20%. Now for PIA, let me use the one for PIA here. For PIA, we look at location. Onshore is land, that's 5%. Offshore, from 0 to 100 is 10%. So this is 60, so that's 10%. Now between 100 to 200 is 15%. Then above 200 is 20%. So we've addressed PIA here, and we have addressed the capital allowance. And now this is the capital allowance brought forward, 12,700,000. So that's where we start. Capital allowance brought forward 12,700,000. So we've done this. So we can tick cancel. We've done this. 12,700,000. Then we'll now look at annual allowances. Annual allowance. First one will be building, 83 million. Building, that will be 20% of 83 million. So 83 million multiplied by 0.2, that will give me 16.6 million. The next one will be pipe, line and storage tank, 65 million. Pipeline and storage tank, okay, this is pipeline storage tank, 20% of 65 million. So 65 million times 20%. That's 13 million. Then the next one is plant and machinery, 52 million. Plant and machinery, 52 million. Plant and machinery, 20% of how much? 52 million. So 52 million times 20%. That's 10,400,000. 10,400,000. So that's it. Add all of this. So I have 10,400,000 in my calculator plus 13 million plus 16,600,000. Okay, 10, 13, 16, 6, yes, plus 12,700,000. Okay, that will give me 52,700,000. 52,700,000. Now this is your annual allowance. The next thing to do is to calculate your PIA. Petroleum investment allowance. Now your petroleum investment allowance hold on a moment. Just a moment. Petroleum investment allowance is only calculated on assets that are bought in the year in which it is being accounting year in which it is being prepared. So this only is only petroleum investment allowance that we are going to use. So this we're not going to use this. We're not going to use this because this is 2013. This is 2014. So if they were bought in 2015, we would have used them at that percentage. So we're only going to use this. So 52 million, 10%. So you say plant and machinery, 10% of 52 million. 52 million will be 5,200,000. That will be your 10%. Now, when you add all of these together, you have add all of these together plus 5,200,000. That will give me 57,900. So that will give me 57,900. So this is your capital allowance. Then you will say restricted to 85% of accessible profit which will say 0.85 multiplied by, we'll go and get it later, multiplied by less 170% of PIA, which I can say is 1.7 times 57,900. So since we have that in our calculator, I'll just multiply it by 1.7. That will give me 98,430. 98,430. Okay. So since this is what is going to be minus, I'll just put a minus here and I'll say plus. Let me go and get, okay, let me clean this off, no problem. Let me go and get the accessible profit. I'll put it in our calculator for the sake of remembrance, since we are going up and down. So this is your accessible profit. So we have here 748,908,465. So for the sake of remembrance, we put it in our calculator, take it down. So what is it again? 748,908, 748,908,465. All right. So let's look for 85% of that. So multiply by 0.85. That will give me 636, 636, 572, 572, 195, 195. Okay, let me remove the fraction. 195 minus 98,430,000. That gives me 538, 538, 142, 195, 142, 195. Okay, now we'll need to take the smaller one. So the smaller one is 59,900. So we'll say choose the lower, which is 57,900. Say 57,900. So that's what we are going to take. 57,900. Take it down here. $57,900. Okay, so now that we have that, we'll say 748,908,465 minus 57,900,000. That will give me 691, 691,008. Did I get it? 465. 465. That's your chargeable profit. Then your chargeable tax, which is workings 9. Did I write these things twice? This is 8. Did I do? Donations is 7. Let me rename them again. Donations is 7. Tertiary education tax should be 8. This should be 8. Then capital allowance should be 9. Chargeable tax should be 10. And this will be 11. All right. So let's go. Donation 7. Tertiary education tax is 8. Capital allowance should be 9. And the next one we want to do here, which is 10. Workings number 10 should be your chargeable tax. Chargeable tax. Tax is 85% of chargeable profits, which is something as 0.85 multiplied by our chargeable profit here is 691. 691,008, 495. 465. 465. 465. All right, which is equal to, multiply this by 0.85. That will give me 587, 587, 357, 195. Let's see, 195. So we'll take it up, down. Take it up now. So we'll recall it here. 587, 587, 375, 375, 195, 195. All right, then our total tax liability, which is workings number 11, final workings here. 11, total tax liability So upstream activity. Chargeable tax. How much is chargeable tax? This is what we just calculated now. Chargeable tax is what we just calculated now. 587, 357. So this is 587, 357, 195, 195. Then we have tertiary education tax, 3 workings 8. Go and get it down here. 14. So let me just write it down here. Let me remove this fraction. Okay. Tertiary education tax, I'm going to be adding it. 14, 978, 169. So before I press the equal button, go down and write it. So this is 14,978, 14,978, 169, 169. Add them together. 602, 335, 602, 335, 364. Now this is upstream activity. Then we'll look at downstream activity. Downstream activity. Okay, so I was supposed to put 2 naira sign. Okay. Now the downstream activity, remember there is one thing we have not taken from this question. We said we are going to take it twice. Now that is the second time we are going to be taking it. This miscellaneous income. So I will start miscellaneous income. We have 105,500. Striking it, 105,500. 105,500. Less allowable expenses. Now the expense is 88,240. 88,240. So with this now we have done here. So we've done everything. 88,240. Okay. So this will be your accessible stroke chargeable profits. So what we do here is 105,500 minus 88 240. That gives me 17,260. 17,260. All right. Now your company income tax. So this is company income tax. Unlike this one, which is chargeable tax, which I will call petroleum profit tax. So this is company income tax. So let me just change this one to chargeable tax here and call it petroleum profit tax. Okay, because it's upstream activity. So this is downstream activity. This is going to be 30% of 17,260,000. So let's look for that. So we'll say times 0. So times 0.3, which is 5,178,000. 5,178,000. This is your CIT, tertiary education tax. As at 215, it was 2% of 17,260. We are going to take 2% of it, but I'm going to use a shortcut. Since I've used 30%, I'll just say divided by 30 multiplied by 2. That's my shortcut. 345,200. 345,200. 345,200. For those who are still wondering why I did it that way, let's check it again. 117,260 multiplied by 2% is 0.02. I got the same answer. Okay, when I add these two, and I have my 345,200 plus 5,178,000. That gives me 5,523,200. 5,523,200. 5,523,200. Then I will add everything together. So this is the downstream plus the upstream of 602,335,364. That gives me 607,858. So this is 607,858. Sorry, 858. Yes, 564. 564. So take it up, down. So you see, we use the whole of 7 pages for this question. If we are to add our advice, which is going to be 1 page, it's going to be a whole of 8 pages. So I'll take it down again here. 607,858. 607,858. 564. 564. Now that is everything about this. So you are going to be putting them as your appendix and your workings to the appendix. Then you will be writing your report. Our answers might slightly different from ICANN suggested solution, but look at their solution here. We will say the managing director Olu Oil Limited, you can put any address and all that. Tax matters. We hereby state as follows. We have evaluated the operational results of the company for the year ended 31st December 2015 and the income derived from the following sources. Now look at all the incomes: crude oil exported, crude oil in domestic market, natural gas sold from 2 contracts, other miscellaneous income. We have also considered the expenses and other relevant information pertaining to both the income and expenditure, capital allowance, and the prevailing exchange rate. And we have advised as follows. Appendix 1 shows the detailed computation of the petroleum profit tax for the year assessment year 2015, and we've arrived at the following result. Okay, assessable profit. Let's check what we have. We have a different thing, we will not change it. The important thing is we understood the topic. Okay, 748,908,465. That's the same thing. Chargeable profit, we have 691,008,465. That's the same thing. Then we have chargeable tax, 587,535,195. 375,195, yes. Then the total tax payable, 607,858,561. I'm having 564. That's not an issue. 3 naira difference is not an issue. All right. We have also enclosed detailed workings of the following: export sales, workings 1, and all that. All these are not necessary. You can just say, see the enclosed workings and all that. All of that. So then sign it off. Then you now look at your workings and you put the name of the company on top. Can you see now that in every workings, they were in every line, they went to do the workings. Some of them, they did the line working here. They did some of the line workings here, which is fine. That's fine. So all right. So this is a detailed step-by-step explanation of how you will solve this in an exam condition. Uh, Forgive me, I promise we would have solved 3 questions, but that is not going to happen. This is going to be the only question we shall solve. And the reason why is this. Let me mark it off here before. This is November 2018 question 2, which is this. Let me call it A26, because this should be our 26th class. This is A26, and this one was solved. So I will just say this is 27. It's going to be your assignment. It's going to be your assignment to solve this remaining ones. Now, the reason why we had to solve this is because this carries everything that you can see in your petroleum profit tax. Almost everything you see API, gravity, how to work with it. You'll see how to do gas contract is there. We saw upstream sector, downstream sector. We saw how to calculate PIA, annual allowances. Everything is here. And coupled with other things we've been doing, I believe we now have a good grasp on petroleum profit tax. So we may not be solving any other question, as all the things we've been solving suffice. And I had to take my time to solve this one so that it will be very well understood. Then we've seen how to write our report from the solution, from ICANN suggested solution, how the report is being done. So when you are asked to do your report, you do it that way, then bring your workings, your figures from your workings. So it means your report is written last and figures from there, just the way they give in the exam, answer accessible profit like that, put the figures there. That ensures that you are answering the question. And so when you go to the exam, like I always say, look for the requirements. The requirement gives you direction on what to do and what things the examiner is looking at. Then go to the body of the question. Like I said, for petroleum profit tax, most of the time they will give you a JV question, not a PSC. Once they give you a PSC question, you will immediately know. Now, if they give you a JV question, look at the year of assessment, always -4 from it, so that you know where your 19% on your PIA and on your capital allowance will be. Of course, when you look at PIA, want to calculate PIA, it's going to be on only assets that was purchased in that year. Then you do your detailed workings, detailed solution. I will not subscribe to you doing your workings in the face of your answer. Always refer to a workings, go down and do your detailed working and bring it in. That way your work is neat, the examiner follows you, and he'll be pleased with your work. All right, so as we say bye-bye to our lecture series for this diet, I want to use this medium to wish everyone who is writing the ICANN examination, this diet, November 2024. I want to wish you as a big success in your exam, and go out there and make me proud. All right, so keep practicing for the next 1 month and so. Keep practicing, practice. And also note that from all the things we've been doing, there are questions, there are topics that are usually common. If you see, petroleum profit tax is usually a common question being asked. Another one is capital gains tax. You need to know that. Then you need to learn how to do your pioneer and your commencement and cessation, change of accounting date. You also need to learn how to do tax planning, objection and appeal. What again? Double taxation relief. Then what again? Objection and appeal procedures, merger and acquisition, tax evasion, tax avoidance, tax audit, tax investigation, transfer pricing. Now, these are some of the things you should, okay, double taxation and what again? Taxation of non-resident persons. These are some of the things that are common in the examination. So go there, revise everything we've been talking about. These ones have highlighted. I'm not giving you area of concentration, no, but I want you to pay special attention to on them because it is likely that 50% of your question will come from this side. Until then, when I'll be expecting to see your result as good, this is me wishing you big success in your exam, and please take time to study all the lecture series and practice, practice, practice. That is all I can say for now. Thank you once again and good night.